For decades, Cliff Richard was the smiling face of British pop music. His charm, clean-cut image, and unforgettable hits made him the soundtrack of generations. Behind the lights and record-breaking charts, however, lay private struggles, heartbreaks, and betrayals that almost derailed his life. His story is not just about fame and music, it is a journey of resilience, personal conviction, and survival. From his early years in India to the heights of British stardom, Cliff Richard's life was marked by triumphs and trials that defined not only his career, but also his character, leaving an indelible mark on the history of music. Early life in India. Cliff Richard was born Harry Roger Webb in Lucknow during the final years of British India. His early memories were filled with warmth, comfort, and the vibrant culture of the region. Life, however, changed rapidly as political unrest and the push for Indian independence grew. The Webb family decided to leave India, embarking on a long and crowded sea voyage back to England. Their arrival was far from idyllic. Post-war Britain was still recovering, rationing was strict, and opportunities were scarce. This drastic shift from the sun-drenched streets of Lucknow to the austerity of Hertfordshire left a lasting impression on young Harry, fueling his determination to rise above his circumstances. Discovering rock and roll, struggling with the stark contrast of his childhood and new life, Harry Webb sought an outlet for his frustration and dreams. Music became that escape. The electrifying sounds of American rock and roll, Elvis Presley's swagger, Little Richard's energy, struck him like lightning. Harry didn't aim merely to fit into the British music scene, he wanted to stand out. By his late teens, he had reinvented himself as Cliff Richard, a name chosen for strength, permanence, and homage to his idols. Together with his band, initially called the Drifters and later the Shadows, Cliff recorded a debut single that would ignite a musical revolution in Britain, announcing the arrival of the country's first true rock and roll star. Meteoric fame. Cliff Richard's early success was unprecedented. His debut single, sharp and rebellious compared to the polite pop of the era, captured the imagination of teenagers nationwide. Scenes of screaming fans fainting in the streets mirrored American Elvis hysteria, a phenomenon Britain had never witnessed before. Overnight, Cliff became the face of a cultural shift, a symbol of youthful energy and modernity. His fame extended beyond music. He represented a new generation of confidence and daring. While other artists followed trends, Cliff defined them, creating a model of British stardom rooted in talent, charm, and relatability, capturing hearts across the country and inspiring countless aspiring musicians. A public declaration of faith. In the 1960s, when rebellion and nonconformity defined pop culture, Cliff Richard made a choice that stunned the public. He publicly declared his Christian faith at a Billy Graham rally, broadcasting it across the nation. The move was radical for a pop idol at the peak of fame. Many assumed this decision would end his career. Some record executives feared he would abandon music entirely. For Cliff, faith was not a private matter. It became a guiding principle. Instead of walking away, he merged his music and beliefs, becoming the first major British pop star to openly live by his convictions while continuing to compete on the charts, redefining what it meant to be a celebrity. Personal loss and responsibility. Despite his public image, Cliff Richard's life was marked by personal tragedy. At 21, his father passed away, leaving him responsible for his mother and sisters. Later, he endured the slow decline of his mother due to Alzheimer's disease. These experiences deepened his sense of duty, forcing him to sacrifice personal happiness for family responsibilities. Romantic relationships often faltered. One love ended in a letter where he confessed he had to prioritize career and family over marriage. The weight of responsibility, combined with the pressures of fame, shaped him into a man of resilience, someone who balanced public admiration with private hardship, often without recognition or sympathy from the outside world. The love that never was among the fleeting romances in Cliff Richard's life, one stands out. In the early 1970s, he performed with young Australian singer Olivia Newton-John on television. Their chemistry was undeniable, and a deep connection grew. But Olivia was involved with Bruce Welch, Cliff's bandmate in the Shadows. Their affair was turbulent, complicated, and ultimately enduring. Cliff's feelings remained unspoken, caught between loyalty and longing. For years, he carried unrequited love silently, admitting only decades later that he had fallen for her. This heartbreak, like many in his life, was endured privately, emphasizing the personal sacrifices and unfulfilled desires that shaped the man behind the music. Career longevity. While the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and other groups dominated global charts, Cliff Richard endured through decades, not by chasing trends, but by staying true to himself. He became more than a pop idol. He was a figure defined by faith, resilience, and authenticity. His ability to adapt while maintaining personal principles allowed him to sustain a career longer than almost any of his contemporaries. He innovated without abandoning his roots, navigating the changing landscape of music, television, and public opinion, proving that staying true to one's identity could coexist with commercial success, a lesson few in the fast-paced music industry truly understand. Public scrutiny and betrayal. Even decades into a storied career, Cliff Richard faced the darkest moments of his life. Unproven allegations led to police raids, media frenzy, and public speculation. Though eventually cleared, the damage lingered. Cliff described feeling smeared, not just by authorities, but by institutions he trusted. Reputation built over 60 years seemed to vanish overnight, reduced to headlines and rumor. Legal victories and financial compensation could not heal the emotional scars. Yet he endured, confronting fear and uncertainty with dignity. This chapter underscored the vulnerability of fame and the ruthlessness of public scrutiny, reminding the world that even icons are human, capable of being wounded by forces beyond their control. Resilience and legacy. Cliff Richard's story is one of extraordinary triumph intertwined with profound suffering. He gave his life to music, faced betrayal, heartbreak, and relentless scrutiny, and yet remained steadfast. Through personal sacrifice, unwavering faith, and resilience, he endured while remaining true to his principles. His journey teaches lessons about perseverance, the cost of fame, and the power of authenticity. Cliff's legacy is not simply measured by record sales or awards, but by the way he navigated trials, merged art with conscience, and inspired millions across generations. He represents both the triumphs and trials of life, lived in the public eye. Conclusion. The life of Cliff Richard is a portrait of contrasts, public success and private sorrow, fleeting love and enduring loyalty, fame and vulnerability. From his birth in India to superstardom in Britain, his path was never straightforward. Triumphs were often shadowed by loss, heartbreak, and betrayal, yet he emerged stronger, defined by faith and character as much as musical talent. Cliff Richard's story reminds us that behind every icon lies a human being, striving, enduring, and surviving. His journey offers a powerful testament to resilience, a life lived fully, and the courage to remain true in the face of both glory and adversity.